Well, hello, everybody. We are joined by the lovely Lizzie Curtis and Alistair MacDonald, who's waving merrily in front of his fabric there. Yes. I think we've both got the email about the colours.
I know,
We
it's
actually all did
Emerald.
very well when you think about it.
Yeah, Emerald Week.
Emerald Week, absolutely.
We're bringing the luck.
We're bringing the look, yes. So this is the 12th series of the Sownbee. I think it's about the fourth series of the Sownbee Natter, and we couldn't start it without the lovely Lizzie Curtis joining us, because you've joined us for the last few. So Lizzie, for people who don't know who you are, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
I'm Lizzie Curtis. I'm a social media genius at the moment, it seems. I've got Facebook and I'm on TikTok and YouTube, so you can go and look me up there. But I've been stitcher since I was 4 years old, so I know a little bit of something about stitching. And it's my passion. I absolutely love it. So, and I knew these guys from TV Land, so a little while back now.
And a lot of people do know who you are, Alistair, but would you like just to introduce yourself properly?
My name is Mr. MacDonald.
Oh, gosh, right, bow. Curtsy.
Well, I missed out the Dame bit at the beginning, but but no, so I'm Alistair. I've known Kim and Lizzie for several years through TV, yes, through TV Land, and we're all happy sewers. My background is fashion. I'm an ex-Central St Martin student. I've been head designer for a lot of different brands and stuff like that, and then we all met up in Craft TV Land. So I think between us, we could do right some wrongs.
Certainly could, yes, absolutely. Well, the plan is that throughout the season,
Just to be fair, now that we've introduced ourselves, Kimberly, would you like to introduce anybody who doesn't know anything about you? Because you always get missed out on these bits, so go ahead.
Oh, bless you. Well, I've been sewn for a reasonable amount of time, and it's thanks to my nana, which is where I got my sewn talents from. That's a christening dress that my nana made out of a wedding dress for me. So that's my little nod to me nana. Yes, through TV Land, I had a patchwork and quilting shop first, and yeah, I just thoroughly enjoy sewing. I do less now. Don't do any TV as such, but I am doing lots of holidays and weekend retreats. So we'll keep putting the links on there. So if anybody fancies joining me, then please do, because all I want to do is sew, really, if the truth be told.
And I have to say, Kim, the sets when we were on TV Land. Sorry, Alistair, close your ears. Your sets used to look absolutely fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you.
They were absolutely crammed full of inspiration. I used to stand and just go through. I was always lucky because I could see it before anybody else. And I just used to go through it and look at it and think, I just want it all. I want to do it all. It was an absolute inspiration. And Alistair,
thank you.
Gorgeous. I just had to put that in there.
That was kind of a little bit of a backhanded comment, but I'll take it. No, we used to get into a lot of trouble in the green room. Let's just say
we did. We had lots of fun. Yes,
they were super days. They really were.
They were.
Yeah,
they were. So we're going to get straight into the Sownbee. It was introduced this time by Sophie Willan, who was a comedian who was pregnant as well. God love her. What are they doing? Just getting presenters who are pregnant. That was my first thought. I thought, bless. Hope it wasn't too hot for her. This week's theme was British sewing, and they went straight into they're doing the pattern challenge, the transformation, with a little bit twist at the end on the made to measure. Now, the pattern challenge, I've never seen a group of people look so nervous as Esme was handing out those patterns. But it was a pair of summer shorts. It had to have 2 pockets, which were patch pockets, with a fake fly made for women. And that was a big thing, made for women, because one of the guys did get that wrong. Elastic at the back, and they had to have lots of top stitching with a contrasting thread. And they did make a point about making sure that they chose the right fabric, not too floaty, not too stiff, to ensure that they would get a good fit. Now, I'm going to go straight in and say, Lizzy, what did you think of that challenge? And I've got a couple of things that are the more technical things that people may not have realised what they are, because it is an entertainment programme that I'm going to ask you about as well. But Lizzy, what did you think?
Well, I thought the actual project was really lovely. I really did. And it's funny because I've done something really similar within my group over the last couple of months. We did a pair of trousers, and if you just oofed the hem up, they would be identical. So I kind of related to that almost straight away. And I love patch pockets. I think they can be quite a statement. And the young lady, and I've got it down here somewhere, who did the red pockets against the other, the stripy fabric, wasn't it? Absolute genius, because they stood out, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? They've got to learn that they've got to be a little bit different to everybody else, and I just thought it was super. But a couple of things.
And you see,
oh my word!
Tim's found a new toy on Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, look at that top stitching as well. Now, can I say a couple of things about this?
Yes, please.
Right, so I think I'm going to get this right a little bit later on, when it was the made to measure. Dawn used the cover stitch, or we tried to use the cover stitch for the and I'm ever so disappointed that didn't work for her. But what I was thinking was, hold on, there was nowhere in that introduction that Patrick or Esme said that they couldn't use a twin needle or a cover stitch. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's the first thing I would have reached for, was a twin needle. Different sizes, in different widths. They're not all narrow. In fact, I think one is about a 1/4 inch from memory. I've got anyway.
You can get a 4 mil. You can get a 2.5, 3.5, and a 4 mil. And that, because when you look at a twin needle, Lizzy, you have two numbers on. One's the size of the needle, so it might be an 80 or a 90, and then the other one, the other size, is the actual gap between the two needles. Perfect. So I would have gone for a bigger needle with a bigger gap.
Yes, me too. I would have gone straight to the haberdashery to see if that was there. But also, I mean, I know a cover stitch is ever so niche, but if you've used one before, they're fairly easy to use, and it would have given them the absolute perfect. Now, I don't think that's cheating, because didn't hear Esme or Patrick say you cannot use a cover stitch and you cannot use a twin needle. But of course, you know, they were thrown in. That was the first project, and you know, you're going to be your head's going to be, you know, who says that you're going to be there calm and collected and thinking, oh yes, I'll go and get my twin needle. You won't be. You're going to be like rabbit in headlights, aren't you, the whole way through? So but it's a learning thing. So for us at home, it's learning that these are things that we could use, and also for the guys there under all that pressure, it's something they can take forward, perhaps, you know, if they knew about that at the time, to another project. And then when I saw Dawn use the cover stitch on her lovely frock, which we'll talk about later. But anyway, I thought, hold on, the cover stitch machine was there. But sorry, overall, I thought it was a great project to start with. Lots of different techniques. Putting the elastic in was great, because you need, obviously they said you need to get those gathers absolutely perfect. And Alistair will love this. I'm not letting him get a word in edgeways, but Alistair's going to. Because where was the tacking? Because their pockets could have been perfectly aligned if they'd done a tacking stitch. But again, it's something that you learn as you go along, that although it might take a couple of minutes, it might save you a lot of time, and also it's the accuracy in the end that would prevail, wouldn't it? So, but I thought Alistair might like that.
And this is the thing. I mean, you know, Alistair, you've always said, for example, zips, tack a zip in. And I do this all the time now. And whenever I'm teaching, other than if I'm doing zips, which I'm doing this weekend in Coventry, and but they're all in the hoop. But when I'm putting a zip in, for the time it takes, you don't have to have little stitches. great big stitches.
Yeah.
Tack it in. It just saves so much angst, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
It's the look tacking, but I come from a really old school sort of like background. I worked in workrooms, and it was do it again, do it again. Even though you might nail it the first couple of times, you'd be like, well, I've done it. It's perfect. You know, why do I have to do it again? Do it again. And then suddenly you would sort of like gingerly take up the third and fourth and fifth offering, and you're like, oh, okay, I can see why I'm asked to do it again and again and again. Because by the time that you've practiced and practiced and practiced, I get it, everyone at home, pinning or the little clips and things like that, they are instantaneous and they are there. And that's how most people have been taught. If you re-teach your brain to get just a needle and thread, and this is a great way, for instance, if you've done a project and you've got a really obscure color of thread, obviously don't put a red thread onto white cloth just in case it's not color fast, unless you know it is. But it's a great way of using up odds and ends of threads as well. But basting in keeps your work, the two things that you're trying to join, keeps it really, really flat. And you honestly, you will thank putting in a zip, unless you are a machinist working in a factory who has put zips in for the last 15 years. And they do it with their eyes closed because that's what they do. You're not going, and you might nail it the first time, but I can guarantee that in a few other projects, especially if you get a bit wobbly or time constraint, baste it in, baste everything. It gives you far more control. Putting a sharp object like a pin will concave your fabric, so you're putting a really rigid thing into cloth. You'll create bumps anyway. A thread disappears and keeps it really nice and flat. It's especially good when you're using slippy fabrics, especially like satins or chiffons and that type of thing. So yeah, great advocate of basting. Just give it a go, and you will see that in actual fact. Also, when you're turning up hems and things like that, I always baste it in first and make sure that I've got it absolutely perfectly, aligned. And it means you can also use a basting thread if you're doing the sleeve head to ease it into an armhole. You can baste it in. And what I'm about to say is, for instance, if you get the pitch of a sleeve wrong, so there's usually a line on a pattern which you put on the shoulder, and that's the pitch. Now, the pitch of the arm should come slightly forward, because when you look at yourself in a mirror, your arms naturally gravitate forward. They're not straight down there. And it means sometimes you can we call it setting the sleeve in, but it can be slightly towards the back, too far straight, or it's not enough tilted to the front. And if you've basted it in, that's quick to remove, and you just slide the bit around so that you get the pitch of the sleeve perfect. It's an amazing thing. And honestly, I think you will you will, like Kim, who never did it before, you will go back to that and you'll keep doing it. And you can use it for everything and anything.
Can I just say though, just because I'm very conscious of the fact that we come up with solutions for the people sitting at home, but I think when these contestants who put themselves out there year after year, they're so brave. I think the biggest thing is this time is, oh, I haven't got time to do that. I haven't got time to do that. So they're doing things in a hurry that maybe at home they would do rather differently. But because they've got that clock tick, tick, ticking in the background, I'm not saying that is the reason, but I do think that it would certainly, I couldn't do what they do. I'll be honest with you. Well, I couldn't do it in that time. The pressure.
You're being watched, aren't you? You know you're
the cameras are in your face, and exactly.
Gosh, even the best of us would get a little bit anxious. I mean, we've done a bit of TV, so we know that feeling of that camera staring at us, and you know full well that it's on your hands and it's looking at what you're doing, and you're not. I mean, you get past the point of shaking, but even so, that pressure is immense. We did years and years and years, and that pressure never goes away. So
no,
I
it doesn't.
think they do an absolutely cracking job. I mean, to even apply, they've got to be these people in the land. They really have. And all credit to them. Great.
Yeah. So sorry for interrupting, Alice. I just think that's something that, because we're very aware of it.
And we are very aware of it. And I
the
think
solutions we come up with tend to be for people who are doing it at home.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If you're wanting to recreate that short, do it this way.
yeah, I mean, a lot of our criticisms about the show, because it is an entertainment show, and
Yes.
they do show all the bad bits that happen, or the faux pas that happen with the garments, or this isn't quite lining up, or this isn't what have you.
It's a show.
So these are things that, for instance, if somebody at home is watching our Natter or they're watching the Soamby and thinking, well, okay, so that's wrong, but they're not actually telling you how to put it right. So that's where we sort of come in, and we're doing it in a constructive way. We're
Yes.
never ever attacking the individual in terms of what's going on. We're critiquing the work, and also we're critiquing Patrick and Esme and the program in total about what they're actually delivering to us to watch as an entertainment program at home. But I've got a few tips as well when you're doing your top stitching. So the biggest thing to make, and this will, now everyone will be screaming, well, that makes common sense, but honestly, a lot of people will forget this. When you're winding your bobbin up, the one that goes underneath your machine, that's the under
The
thread,
bottom bobbin.
make sure that it is full. Because when you're top stitching and you get to a really crucial point, especially on a fly, and you run out of thread, and then you have to back tack it right there and then, the best thing to do, because you will stare at it for your entire life, and you'll go, oh, if I just had enough thread for that, that would really annoy me at that point. Make sure your bobbins are full. The second thing is, there was a lot of issues with people when they were top stitching, that they you could see the back tacks. Now, a quick and easy way, a bit like when you're doing darts, you should leave long dog ears at the ends. And what you can do when you top stitch and you come round and out the pockets of the top part and the side bit, leave long ears, sew it all up, sew it in place, and then tie into the seam allowance the ends of the top stitch. It means you won't see any back tack and it'll look really, really professional. So especially with top stitching threads, they sometimes don't like to be in the machine. So just bear with them, and especially the thickness of fabrics that you're using. I found it really strange how they asked them to put that elastic in. I can tell you.
I was going to ask about that. Yes.
I can tell you now, I have never seen, and you do not do this at home. That's not how you put the elastic in. You don't put it in and then stretch it and try and sew it and not catch it. Elastic has a mind of its own when it's in there.
It's so hard to do that.
It is so hard. And that only comes with confidence. So I thought, and they're following it to the letter because the pattern is telling me I've got to do it that way. And you saw them, they were like stretching it. It's like, no, leave one of the side seams open, or in the center back seam, leave a little hole, put your elastic in, attach it permanently on one side, and then pull it through the rest of the work and attach it onto the other. Or another trick you can do is attach longer pieces of elastic to either side seam, have them coming through slightly longer and poking through, sew up the bottom of the waistband to conceal it all. Where your hole is, pull the elastic so it's got the ruche that you want, overlap the elastic, and then literally sew a box and then bury it inside, and no one will be none the wiser.
Yeah. That was one of my questions, because I looked at that and I thought, oh my goodness gracious me, elastic's got a mind of its own, and it was a very, very difficult thing to do. And that was something that they obviously commented on later on, that the elastic wasn't even, the ruching at the back wasn't even. The other thing that they talked about a lot on this particular project, and it did come up later on, was the understitching. So do one of you want to explain to us the importance of understitching, and it obviously stops your facings coming forward or your fabrics rolling over.
Out. Yeah, it just stops everything popping out, doesn't it? And actually, so you've got to understand what you're doing, which bit you're catching to which bit, keeping it simple. But in actual fact, it keeps everything back. So if you've ever seen anybody with a dress or a shirt or something, and you see this little creep of lining or whatever coming up underneath, it's because it hasn't been understitched, and it just holds everything together. It's a really simple thing to do. nothing. Do you know what? Sewing doesn't have to be super duper complicated, and as long as you keep. I was going to say keep to the pattern, and I'm sure they did, but I know one of them missed it, which is, and she pressed it beautifully and it was fine.
Yes.
But the understitch just keeps everything in control. That's all I'd want to say. I'm sure Alistair's got a ream of stuff to say about understitching.
No. I mean, what you've said, you've hit it in a nutshell. That is exactly the purpose of understitching, and you can use it in so many different ways. You don't have to use it for garment making. You can use it in your bag making. You can use it anywhere. The only thing that I would say, just to be wary of, is before you do a line of that, make sure in the raw, before you put the facings and everything like that, try the garment on first. Then once you're happy with the fit, then do all the understitching. Now, the reason I'm saying that is when you then open, if you had to alter it and you had to open up the seam, you're then having to open up the seam, then the understitching, you're having to take all that thread out to then get into it, to then alter it. So it's better to do all the finishing stitches towards the end of the construction. Make sure the pattern fits perfectly, and especially if you're making to order at home and you're making for I don't know, your next door neighbor, or for instance, say your husband or your wife or whoever it is, try the raw garment on first. And if you've got pleats and things like that, baste them all together. That'll just keep them all in place, and then just make sure you're happy with the fit, and then go in and then do your understitching.
Good idea. Good advice, actually.
And it was the understitching that actually made the difference between first and second place on this one. I don't think we need to go through all the the comments that were made, but it was the decision that, and as a result, Anna's, who had those lovely contrast pockets, won. But it was Beth whose understitching wasn't there. It was they described it as perfection because it was pressed beautifully, but the understitching,
So I suppose
shall we move straight on?
I suppose you've got to tick all the boxes of what they've asked for.
Yes,
But with the what Alistair said about the elastic, I suppose there's got to be room for putting your own twist on things. If the elastic's put in, then that's absolutely fine, isn't it? It's food for thought, isn't it? When you come to do your own things at home.
And the other thing is maybe there's that fine line, and without speaking to the individuals, some of them may have wanted to do it a different way, but then other people have gone off piste and they've been criticised in the past for not following the pattern to the letter of the law. It is a very difficult one. Do you follow the is it about reading, understanding, and following an instruction, rather than there's actually a better way to do that, and I know that better way, and I'll do it my way.
This is why we kicked off on week 1, Kim.
Yes, definitely.
Off on one.
That'll be in the rules.
I've just got one quick thing to say about one of Patrick's comments, especially now we're all getting to know everybody's names on the series, and obviously there's a lot of bees at the beginning. We're getting to slightly no personality. But the lady who made the leopard skin shorts, the biggest criticism, Patrick, in the edit, it seemed to be about, they kept on going on about her choice of the white top stitching.
Yeah. Well, it was Adele. It was Adele.
Yeah. Now, you asked and you emphasized at the beginning of it that it had to be a contrasting stitch. And he suggested perhaps a more taupey color, and I'm thinking, so you wanted it to blend, Patrick, you don't want it to contrast. The white is contrasting, and I think, to be honest, you need to look at back collections from Comme des Garçons, Costume National, Roberto Cavelli, and also Dolce & Gabbana, because throughout history of, and also Versace, Gianni Versace, using contrasting stitching on leopard skin prints has been done and done and done. And in actual fact, I actually did like the white contrasting.
It did.
On the leopard, actually. I thought
it was lovely. And yeah, it should have been about a stitching. And she actually came, so it would be 11th. And it was the comment, you're right. And that was the reason, I think that was potentially the reason that she was marked down. Had she gone for the ecru, it would have blended and then you wouldn't have seen the top stitching.
But
maybe.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
I will. little bit later on in the programme, she said, so if somebody has told you something, that's what you should do. So she picked up on what
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Alice could have been what Patrick said. She
Yes.
obviously thought about it afterwards and thought, and then of course she was marked down, which is very unfortunate. But she mentioned later on to say, the clue is when somebody says that to you, spend 5
Change
minutes.
it. Yeah, which is a shame, isn't it? Because then that takes away her choice rather than what their influence is. Years and years ago, I went to a patchwork and quilting class, and the teacher that was there only liked certain things. And one of the students turned up and she had this bright orange fabric. And I remember it being thrown across the room. You cannot use that orange fabric. Anyway, she ignored her, and it was just small elements. Oh my goodness gracious me. It made such a difference. It popped the whole quilt. It looked fantastic.
Beautiful.
Had you done as the teacher had said, which was you cannot use that, then it wouldn't have had that same effect. So I think you've got to put some of yourself in there as well, your own personality.
100%.
Right, we'll go on to our favourite one, although this one didn't offend me as much as possibly one later in the series will.
I wasn't overly offended either, actually.
No.
Me. It must be old age and mellowing. I don't know, but
it must be, yes.
But we're only on episode 1, Kim.
Yeah, true. It was a transformation of a barbecue apron into a functional bag. They were allowed 2 aprons with fastenings and webbings from the haberdashery, but they were not allowed any more fabric or decorative trims. They had 90 minutes. I just think, oh my God. And that includes running to the reel to grab. And this is, we've talked about it with previous bees. It is fastest fingers first. I do. Give them all the same. It could be either a sport, a hobby. They really emphasised the functionality and said that they had to play with colours and patterns and that straps and fastenings had to work. Because there's so many bees, it's very difficult to go through all of them. But Alistair, shall we start with you first? Because I know you love to comment on this.
Oh, I do. But you did miss an integral part of the brief.
Oh, sorry.
It had to be with purpose.
Oh, with purpose. That's right. I did write that down. Yes. Just ignored it though.
So you had to look
anyway,
at the back.
Would you like to start?
Yes. I wasn't too look. I thought the bag that won the circular shape, the hat box, I thought was lovely, and I thought it was so different to all of the rest of them. I did like the sports one with the denim. I thought that was really, it was fun and it was just nice. But then again, the gentleman.
You mean this one?
Yes. Oh, I've got this for the next. Oh well, Lizzy, you've
yes, only got 1 week of this, Lizzy.
Yes, got.
Of your new toy.
Let's hope you don't have any pictures from one of your Stitchtopia holidays. Let's popping up there. No, I thought actually, do you know what? I did see a few aprons in there that obviously when you looked at them, they had been bought out of a charity shop or somebody had brought them in because they were a bit worn and a bit washed. So in actual fact, this one I didn't mind so much because I actually thought we've all got aprons. Like I've got a Wizard of Oz one, which has seen better days, and it would be nice to repurpose it to do something else. Maybe make it into a peg bag or something like that. So in actual fact, I didn't mind this so much. I just found, especially because of the time constraints, it's just my little picky things are just, obviously they had to come up with a design out of their head, out of nowhere, and they've got to decide what type of bag to make. And it was just some of the critiques I thought were a little bit unkind for some of the entry. Like it was like, oh, it could have done with a fastening down here, and I'm like, what is it you want? Look at the actual thing, because there was one that looked like it had been made out of like almost like wax cotton, and it had the rivets on and stuff like that. And in actual fact, it was like I think it was a tool bag actually. The gentleman with strawberry blonde hair. I thought that was actually really nice because he looked at the fabric and he thought that's the right fabric to make the bag that I'm make. So yeah, so I thought, you know, those things were all right. But then there were other comments like the lady that made the little knitting bag that was the bucket bag that was ruched in the thing. They marked her down because of the color of the handles. They didn't pop enough, and I'm like, but she's done what you asked to do.
90 minutes, mind. I thought when you lined them all up, they looked absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And what I thought was a bit unfair, and it came across, and maybe the editing is wrong, you know, in Patrick and Esme's defense, but if they couldn't guess what it was, they seemed to mark them down. So Tim's, I thought, was genius because he needs to collect his fruit in. He had that apron with a bag on the front.
Yeah.
If he'd been given the backstory rather than, I mean, they were never going to guess that, were they? And they just said, well, it still looks like an apron. Well, it did to a degree. However, the functionality for what he wanted to use it for, in my opinion, was spot on. And yet he was marked down as 12th. So I think that was a little bit
harsh.
I just thought they were all brilliant. What did you think, Lizzie?
Well, again, 90 minutes. When it can take me a month to come up with a bag pattern and construct it and write it and put it together and all the rest of it. You know, in 90 minutes, I think they did absolutely brilliantly. I mean, I have to say, I was rooting for Tim because he's a Suffolk boy. And of course, I'm from Suffolk. And actually, I thought his design was genius because if you think of the weight of the apples that was a big bag. That's going to weigh a ton. For those that know what a bushel box is, I would imagine a bushel box so big is for putting fruit in, and you tip one of those into that apron, I bet all those apples would fit. Well, you're not going to carry that on a shoulder. You're not going to carry that on a crossbody, but to have it around your neck, so it's supported by your entire upper body, absolutely perfect for the job. And so why change it? Coming up with the idea of it, straight away, he put himself into that position of what would I use it for? And his job is he's got a farm, hasn't he? And he's got the fruit trees and all the animals and everything. And I'm to visit. And perfect for the apples. I have to say, the clever girl, and I've got it written down here, the transformation. Oh, yes, Emma. Emma stitched, which I loved. Emma stitched music on her bag. And I thought,
using the font on the machine, perfect.
Yeah, and I thought, genius. Now, the lady that did was it Emma that did the sewing bag? Was it Emma? One of the ladies.
Emma did the music bag. The music briefcase, and she used the font on the machine. And Dawn did the one with the no, hang on a second.
She did
I haven't written down what she did. Oh, it was a dinner. It looked like a meat. It looked like a meat apron. And it was but it also had the like waistcoat. It was quite funny, really, wasn't it?
What a peculiar mix. I loved it. It was so great. But I thought, now you know what? Emma saw that the machine was capable of doing the embroidery of music, and I thought that's genius. Stroke of genius. And so it was quite clear then what her bag was for. Obviously, put sheet music in, whatever. And that would have been a great thing for Dawn to have done, because how would you say that was, and as a stitcher, how would we say that was a sewing bag? I'm not sure.
I know.
You could.
Not unless you write it yeah. I mean, she had the pockets in there for our bits and pieces. It was absolutely fine. But also, I'll tell you who else was very clever was Beth, who used free motion on hers, and she actually wrote. Hers was like a sash with their 2 water bottles on. Genius. And then she actually used the free motion foot on the machine.
And she did a cracking job, didn't she? What a great,
she certainly did.
Was absolutely switched on to it. But like you say, well, first of all, I think it was Lewis, I think, that had the oilcloth fabric.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, that's such a tricky one. If you've not used it before, that's a tricky one to make bag of, but he did, and Alistair said he had the rivets, and he used that brilliantly. But I just wish they'd all have the same apron or the
Yeah.
same quality, because that oilcloth kind of was a bit of a spanner in the works as far as I was
Uh-huh.
concerned.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I thought they all did so well.
They
Really
did.
admire them. Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant.
I think it goes back to the fact that we've said it many, many times before for the transformation challenge, give them exactly the
Do
same
the same.
fabrics and access to the same things, and then have it.
Was it?
But it was one of the
Yeah,
best. Sorry?
did they do the same fabric? All had the same fabric last year? I think it was one
No.
year.
Or was it one year? I can't remember.
I think last season there was a project where they were all given exactly the same.
Yeah.
Or there was that you're right. There was something. I
Yeah.
think it was the
Let's have to have a look back.
beginning or something like that. They were given exactly the same.
Yeah, that was good.
Or they were told they all had to use. I think they could choose a different color in the fabric, but all the fabric was the same, and all of the fastenings and something.
Yeah.
Was all the same.
Yeah. You stand a chance, don't you?
I mean, it would take me 90 minutes to sit and think about it. In all of those bags, right, without word of a lie, we're all functional, in my opinion. We're all great in 90 minutes. Okay, some things weren't finished off. Hey ho, they would finish it off. It can take you 90 minutes to decide what fabric you're going to do. Never mind come up with a design immediately.
I'd still be drawing it.
yeah, I'd still be faffing on me, honestly.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So the next challenge was the made to measure, and they get 5 hours for that, which is not an enormous amount of time either. Can I just put it out there?
Yeah.
This one was what they would like to wear on a summer's day, their summer's day. It had to fit themselves because they were the models, which is a little bit of a twist on their perfect summer's day. They were allowed to practice. They needed to have a clear story about them, the individuals. They had to be beautifully made. That's not my words. That's Patrick and Esme's. And they had to fit properly. Esme says what is important in this one is creativity. I have actually put in time as the enemy. And the other thing which I've put with a huge amount of exclamation marks is the rotary cutters.
Oh.
One of these days, and particularly there was when they're using stretch fabrics, they're using rotary cutters. Now, Dawn was the only one that I saw, and I'm not saying the others didn't, who used scissors.
I saw that as well.
I just can't, please, at home, Alistair will tell you, if you're dressmaking and you use a rotary cutter, it's going to drag the fabric. If it's got any stretch in it, you just don't stand a chance. But more importantly, at what point are you protecting your health and safety, your risk assessments? Are you protecting these when you are rotary cutting on a paper pattern with nothing buttered up to that rotary cutter? My hand was, I was just so...
I can't walk.
No. I'll come to you, Lizzy, first about the challenge, but I had to get that off my chest because it's the biggest... Yeah, it hurts like hell and you bleed on your fabric if you use a rotary cutter, but then without all of them, what Alistair will tell you, use your scissors.
And do you know, it's funny. It's a funny thing, but I changed my rotary cutter blade today because I'd had it in my rotary cutter for how long? 6 months, maybe. I don't know. And I've made quite a lot of stuff in that time. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to treat myself. And when I took the blade out, I am so careful. Even though it doesn't cut my fabric very well, it would still slice my hand open. So I'll use a magnetic doodah what's-it to get hold of it, to move it off my rotary cutter. And likewise, the new one, the same. There's no way my fingers are going to get anywhere near it. But my bugbear, I have a bugbear too, Kim. I have a bugbear.
Good.
And my bugbear is I would never, ever use weights on my pattern pieces.
No.
I am old school. I'm getting my pins out because I know my pins are going to hold that exactly where I want it to be. It's not a criticism. It's that I wouldn't do that because I think that weights could easily move. I mean, I don't know if there's any form of magnetism that you could use to hold all the layers together. That would be great. But come on, guys, let's get the pins out. Let's do that. We've got tacking, we've got pins, and hey, let's use some scissors. All of these things are there. They've been used for hundreds of years. The mudlarkers are still digging out pins from hundreds of years ago. So they've got to work, haven't they? But that's my only bugbear, that the weights. I do get a little anxious, especially because they're rotary cutting.
And also, if they get distracted by their, Esme and Patrick are talking to them, they've got cameras back in their faces.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing it from a really kind place. It's the only time that I raise my voice in a class, and I've got this ability to know that somebody's got a rotary cutter unguarded. If they put it down, they don't put that cover back on.
Yeah.
And particularly the ones that you sort of grip and hold up, people lock them into place so the blade's exposed. Oh my goodness, I got cut once. You bleed a lot. It hurts like hell. So it's coming from a really kind place. Please don't use rotary cutters. Not for dressmaking at all. Ever. Anyway, once we've got all our gripes out the way, what did you think of the end results, Lizzy?
And
I will be able to bring pictures up.
There was only two that I really. I mean, of course, I absolutely adored Anna's outfit.
Yes,
she's got a little bit of something there going on, and I absolutely adored it. I mean, she's got a beautiful figure, and it just looked amazing. It would look like a dustbin bag on me, but on her, she looked absolutely exquisite. And I think she was right to leave.
Is it that one?
She was right to leave the elastic out at the bottom of the shorts. I think that was a good move. And also, because I'm a great upcycler, because she's using a vintage tablecloth, which was that's right up my street.
You do a lot with that because you make bags and things, and you've done some fabulous work with vintage handkerchiefs and cloths.
Yeah. And the other thing, let's have a look. The transformation, next page, the made to measure. Here we go. Now, I was blown away by Sam's outfit. I thought it was absolutely cracking. A tiny mishap on the back, but by golly, that could easily be put right. He did it in the time, 5.5 hours.
Is that Sam? Yeah, that one you're talking about?
Yeah, I love this. Yes, it's fabulous. And he was very brave to use those coloured, tone of shade of button on there. Because if he didn't get his buttonholes absolutely perfect, those buttons would absolutely scream out. So that's top marks. It really is. I love Tim's because it was so different. I maybe have led a sheltered life, but I have never seen a wrap trouser on a man, and it looked absolutely outstanding. I just loved it because he's full of character, isn't he? And I love it. The other one was Beth.
This is it.
Oh, yeah,
no,
sorry.
That's got the wrong one. Stop sharing that one. It's because it was green. See if I can find Tim's, because it was lovely.
Waistcoat and the
butterfly waistcoat.
And the wrap.
There he is, lovely
gorgeous.
Tim. That one there, wasn't it?
Oh, can't see it.
Can you see that one?
Yeah. That was great, and I loved actually the curves of the waistcoat with that lovely chartreuse. The curve of that and the curve of the pocket worked really well. I know they said something about the squareness of the fly and all of that, but actually those curves were really clever to put in there, and that really worked well for me. I thought Beth's was just divine. Again, she's a lovely young lady, so she's going to look gorgeous in anything. But her trousers and particularly the trousers.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful. The harem pants. And what's the other one? Dawn. Oh, yes, this is the thing. We know with the cover stitch.
Dawn. Well, I can bring up Beth's. Hang on a second.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to find photographs here. So if I just maybe, this is the one that you just talked about, which is Beth's, which is the harem pants and the little bra. Is that right?
Yes, look at that.
It'll take a while to come.
And I love the browns with the black. I love that contrast there.
Yeah, that one's lovely.
And I think Esme said about the strap. What am I trying to say? The tie around her neck was the same fabric as the trousers. Brilliant. I mean, I thought they're all super. The cover stitch was a shame that it didn't work for Dawn, but the binding absolutely knocked it out of the park. It was beautiful. Really lovely, that binding.
Yeah, I mean, can we beautiful. We mentioned this before we started, Lizzy. Dawn has a serious eye complaint, and therefore her vision is impaired. The bias binding, I know the cover stitch made a Henry, and the cover stitch not working could be a number of reasons. It could just be time pressure, it wasn't threaded up properly, it was just all anxiety there. But that binding was superb. It was absolutely beautiful. I'm hoping I've got a photograph of it, actually.
I would be very happy to have a neck binding that looked like that.
And she did the clever thing, which was she was having, as Kim would say, having a Henry's with her dress. She put it to one side and got on with the chiffon cape.
Very sensible.
So she thought, I'll deal with that in a second. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on the other part of my garment. I'm not going to sit here and procrastinate too much, because as I'm sewing this, I might come up with a thing. And then she decided, let's ditch the cover stitch idea. Let's just put it in the other way that I would know. And that was the perfect thing, especially strength as well. And I thought that neckline, especially with jersey fabric as well, that sat beautifully. It really did sit beautifully.
And it was a lovely shape, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was really lovely.
Nice.
It was very wearable, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. They're all. I thought they were all lovely.
I did laugh when she said, "I've made a poo bag." And she was questioned about the poo bag, and she went, "Was it? I mean, at what point were they thinking anything other than she had a poo bag for a dog poo?"
Yeah,
it was so funny. Honestly, I laughed out loud when that was said.
I'm just assuming Sophie doesn't have a dog or has never had to walk a dog. It wasn't on her radar at all, was it?
It wasn't. It was just so funny.
Yeah, that was a lovely moment. Yeah.
I mean, I know it was in stretch fabric as well, but that was a very small poo bag if you were dealing with adult poo. I'm just putting it out there, even though it was stretch. But I don't think. Yeah, it was a very small. It was a very small poo bag, but yeah.
Bless you.
It was lovely.
I mean, overall, I think the whole thing was, again, 5 hours, even though they've practiced at home, and some had practiced more than others.
Yeah.
The other lady, Minnie, who dealt with the embroidery, the fabric that was embroidered, that was that beautiful red. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah,
now,
beautiful.
One of the things that Patrick did say to her as he was coming around about the thickness of the fabric, going back to what the comment with regards to the contrast, she couldn't do anything about it. She had that fabric, and she had to deal with it.
And she lined it.
I know. In 5 hours. I mean,
crazy.
I just admire them.
I mean, you could see that where some of the embroidery had, especially on the shoulder and at the neckline, where it was getting slightly busy, and his criticism about, some of the ruching and the pleats aren't quite working because of the thickness of the embroidery. But if he actually stood back and go, okay, that was maybe a wrong choice of fabric, a lighter embroidery on a slightly lighter broadly on glaze would have given perfect finish that Patrick, was suggesting. But I think she worked with that fabric. She couldn't do anything about it. That was the fabric she had brought for the day to make what she was about to make.
Yeah.
And I actually thought, good on her, because literally she made the bulk in that fabric work.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did really well.
Brilliant. I
So the
mean, I
one that
suppose
night,
the thing you could do is if you have a little trial
mm,
run with a piece of fabric that's similar to that. If you didn't want to use your actual fabric,
yeah,
get something similar and have a little trial run to see, especially because she'd lined it, as to how that would
yeah,
sit. But you know, it's again, it's a learning thing, isn't it? If we, you know, we sit here saying
mm,
this is what we would
mhm,
do, but you know, we've been doing it for a million years, you know, whereas these guys, they're home sewers. They've
yeah,
done
yeah,
absolutely brilliantly. I'm so
uh-huh,
in awe of them already. Week one, for goodness
yeah,
sake. Normally, we
yeah.
need
Week
3
1,
4 weeks
yeah,
to get the feel of them. And there's some really lovely, strong characters in there that's going to make the
mm,
program really interesting to watch. And I
mm,
hope that there was 1 or 2 that was a little bit shyer, let's say. I hope they come through. I hope they
yeah,
all level up. Because I think it's going to be a really difficult thing every week to say goodbye to somebody. I think they're going to have to do something
yeah,
disastrous to be eliminated.
yeah. I do feel that leaving them in for the first 2 weeks would be fairer rather than eliminating,
Yeah,
because as we know, Dawn went out and
yeah,
I was championing Dawn, and Emma, who did the swimsuit and the trousers, won. Now, one of the things that Patrick said at the end, I think it was Patrick, I might be wrong here, but one of the judges said was the bottom two were Tim and Dawn,
yeah,
and it was execution versus ambition. Dawn had the execution, but not the
yeah,
ambition, because they felt her dress was very simple, and it was, but beautifully executed.
yeah,
And Tim's wasn't executed as well, but from their point of view, he had the ambition, and that's why he
yeah,
stayed in. And I think if they were given that 1 week to settle, nobody's going home, but there might be a double later on, fair enough.
yeah,
I just
yeah,
feel it would get them used to, because you can practice all you like, but you haven't
yeah,
got cameras in your face. You haven't
yeah.
got they're not at home, so they don't know where everything is. They don't know
Mm,
what's in the haberdashery. Let's
yeah,
be a little bit fairer. I was really sad to see any of them go last night. I'll be honest with
yeah.
you, and
I
particularly Dawn,
liked
because I thought,
I liked her very much.
yeah,
I really liked
absolutely,
Dawn. She was, I would call her, she's the lady that's up the street. She's the lady that we all
mm,
know that does a little bit of sewing and dressmaking and makes beautiful stuff. She's the lady we'd say, oh, go and make that. Go and make that for us.
yeah,
I need a hem turning up. Whatever it is. She was a lovely, natural lady, and I
uh-huh,
thought she had huge potential. And I thought she did incredibly well because of her disability, let's say. I
yeah,
thought it's not patronizing, it's
no,
acknowledging the hurdles that she will have had to have jumped through to do and to get to where in fact, right at the beginning in her intro, she said, and look at me now, I'm here. And you
I
think,
know,
yeah, go girl, you applied, you
uh-huh,
you had that courage, and good for you.
yeah,
And I,
yeah,
yeah, I think right, I'd like to have seen her again. I really
yeah.
would have.
I sometimes don't think they give them the time to settle down. And I mean,
No,
Dawn likes a gadget, because I saw with her needle threader at home on that
yeah,
VT that they did with her. And
yeah,
yeah, I never saw her using any of those gadgets. She had a magnifying glass on the sewing machine. But,
yes, yeah,
they've done this before where, yes, everybody wants to be on a level playing field, but
mm,
being put into it is a studio. It's a big
yeah,
sewing room, but it is a studio. It's geared up for a studio where they will have so many cables and so many cameras and
yeah.
so many people telling them what to do and when to do it. And then
And we
they're
still have to
told,
remember that
mm,
the show is as successful as it is because of the editing, of the picking
yes,
out and the picking out of that. And if
yeah,
you were a fly on the wall, and wouldn't it be lovely if they had a bit of an audience? I know that would even add fuel to the fire for them. But you would get to see the real setup, and
oh,
you'd see what sort of pressures they were under, and if they did have, you know, loo breaks,
mm,
all those sort of things. I was going to say fag breaks, but of course we don't have that anymore. Coffee breaks, you know what I mean.
Um,
You
yeah,
know, you would see it in its true form rather
mm,
than these edited and highly edited bits.
mm,
And I think you said earlier that sometimes the edited bits didn't fit what you were at, you know, if it was the transformation, you'd see an edited bit that perhaps wasn't part of that.
Yes.
And it can muddle you up a little bit in your head, I think. So
Yeah.
you have to kind of remember that this is a very, very successful TV program, because of all the fabulous contestants and the presenters, but also the way they've edited it and put it together as a story. Yeah, it's very clever.
Yeah,
I
very, very
really
good,
like it.
very good.
I thought that the last challenge, I thought the made to measure, I thought this was really unfair that they asked them to do a made to measure and fit it on themselves in week one. I think that if they were going to do that, I think they should have waited till at least 3/4 of the way into the series to then get whoever was left to then do a challenge like that. Because, for instance, I know how difficult it is sometimes when you're actually fitting on somebody who is the end user. So, for instance, the weddings that I've done, you know, you always say to the bride, "No, you're not going to lose any more weight, are you?" No, 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 no. And then it comes to literally a week before or 2 weeks before the wedding, and she's dropped another dress size, and you've done all the finishing and what have you. Then you have to open the whole thing up, and then you have to work overnight to then bring it all the way back down. But the hardest thing is actually to fit anything on yourself, even when you're trying to figure out, if you put a tape measure here, you're in front of the mirror and you're trying to eyeball where, you know, your waist or your hip area is. Forget to measure from, you know, here to down there. I mean, even if you get your other half or a flatmate or somebody in the house to be your eye, it's never it's just never going to work. It's just,
well, that's why people have mannequins that the pad out. So I mean, mine would be very padded, but you pad it out so it fits you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a very, very, very hard challenge.
But however, saying that, we were told at the beginning that they've been able to practice this at home. So if I knew I was definitely in week one, I was going to, and they are told what is happening because they have to have their fabrics and what have you approved to go in. We have been told that. So you prep all of the weeks that you've got because you've no other option. You don't get told on the Monday at the end of filming next week, and then you go out and buy your fabric. You have to bring everything with you, and you are given a budget for that. But if you are able to fit that, and you're using ways and means at home to be able to get the pattern right, we're not assessing them on altering the pattern to fit them. That's not what we're on about. It's about the actual garments. I think it was, in my opinion, it was really unfair that they asked them to actually make it for themselves. Because also in the past, we've had ladies who prefer to make for gents, and they're used to making gents clothes, which are far more 2D. And then we've got gents like Dan from last year that made a lot of ladies' clothes and did a lot of experimental things, but predominantly was making for ladies. So that's a more 3D approach. So it depends where you're coming. But if I like to make, which I do, I prefer to pattern cut ladies' garments. I'm not interested in men's because they're too 2D. But if I was then asked to make an outfit for myself, I'd be really bored because I'm not interested in men's. I mean, I'm interested in going out shopping and buying men's clothes, but I'm not interested in making men's clothes for myself.
Yeah. Anyway, I think what we need to do now is, we've been talking for quite a while, believe it or not. Where does the time go? Because it's we could talk all night, if the truth be told, on all of the bits and pieces. Before we go, obviously we know Emma's gone and Dawn's gone and Emma won. I'm looking forward to next week, which is colour and prints challenge week, and they're going to be doing tops and one colour outfits as the pattern, is the made to measure at the end. But before you leave us, Lizzy, you've got, I can just see in the background, you've got 3 of your lovely books there, and also your fabulous quilt. Do you want to tell us very quickly about those, please?
Oh, well, the yellow book is book number 1. Let's say I had an idea. Let's write a book. So I did. So that was book number 1. It's got 50 little projects in. It's great. I love it. Of course, I love it because I did it and I achieved it. And the same with the bees. You've achieved something. It's fantastic. Then I thought, I know, I'll do that again. What a fool. So I've got book number 2, which is the pink one. And again, it's 50 more little projects. And the full patterns are in there. You don't need to trace, well, yeah, you can trace the patterns, obviously, or you can photocopy them, but they're all full size. There's nothing you have to worry about. And then there's book number 3, which is the blue one, because I thought, in for a penny, in for a pound. So those are in my sum up shop, and I can always put my link on there another day. This little beauty is my summer birds quilt. I'll just move out the way there.
It's lovely.
It's my summer birds quilt, and we start that next Friday, the 24th of July, and it's over the 6 weeks holiday, and it's 6 Fridays at 7 p.m. So the first Friday, well, I won't give the game away because I've got over 50 ladies that are going to do it with me. And we're going to do certain sections of it every week. And the last, I don't know if you've seen this on my Facebook page, Lizzy Curtis, but I did a little video on when I did the flange binding.
Yes.
Because I loved how it turned out. I thought, I know, I'll do a little video. And then somebody asked me about looking at the back of it. They said, it's all very well showing the front, but what about the back? So I thought, well, I better show the back as well. So on my page, you can see the front and the back. I got nothing to, you know what, if I've got a bit of wriggly stitching, I really don't mind anybody knowing about it. I have to say there isn't any wriggly stitching, but there could well be. So we do the flange binding right at the end, and I think everybody's looking forward to seeing how that's done. It's quite effective. But yeah, so that's Summer Birds. That's on my website, lizzycurtis.com, and I can always put the link on the YouTube.
Later. What we'll do is we'll make sure that we get the link from you and we can add it in. Now,
about the shadow?
That's all right, don't worry. Alistair is this time being very generous. And if you're very clever and have a look on the House of Alistair site, houseofalistair.com site, you've got a discount code, haven't you?
I have. Now, I'm not going to show you my front, back, and throw in a bit of flange for you, but what I do have for you today, what I do have for you today is all you need to put in at the House of Alistair website. It even works on sale, which we shouldn't actually really tell you that, but it does. So you'll get an extra 15% off. It just needs to be B, which is BEE 15. That'll get you 15% off. And then, as we always traditionally have, now, because the transformation was bag orientated, we have 3 of these to give away. All you have to simply do is leave a comment underneath. This will all be done through the YouTube. So you need to leave a comment, and a winner will be picked at random. And it's just leave a comment. It could be that you enjoyed the Natter, or what you liked about the sewing bee, or what you would like to see different one time, or anything you would like us to come up with. So there's going to be you need 4 fat quarters to make this handy little shopper. So you get the full pattern and instructions, and you also get a set of handles to go to make the bag. So there's 3 of those to give away, and all you simply have to do, it's free to enter. No one's going to get charged anything. We'll post them out to you, but you just need to leave a lovely comment underneath.
Super.
So can I just ask, just to clarify, the discount code, is it capital letters BEE? So that's Bravo Echo Echo 15.
It is capital letters Bravo Echo Echo 15.
And how long have I got to put that code in, Alistair? And how many times can I use it?
You can use it as many times as you like, Lizzy, and it's right up until the end of October. I think for some reason the website times it's going to conk out at October 31st at 15:41.
31st of October, it conks out. Okie dokie. Well, can I just say, Lizzy, a massive thank you for spending some time with us and talking about the bee.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then you'll see next week we've got Mitch Bridgewater, who was on the season that was filmed during COVID. My goodness gracious me. So I'm looking forward to seeing him again. And he's going to tell us a little bit about what's happening, not only his review about the programme, but what's actually happening in the social media world with the bees as well. So we'll look forward to seeing him as well.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Yes, and we'll see you very soon, Lizzy. So
Okay.
we'll say bye-bye. This could take a while. Right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hang on.
Bye-bye.
Hang on.
Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things what to do, and in my head I paint a picture. Since I come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dance. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie. 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 Did you have